You are currently the only person in this conference.
Okay, guys, we opened up the room just a couple minutes early. We're going to wait for a bunch of other people to get here, and then we'll get started. Quick question: can you guys hear me? If you can, just if you want to just throw something in the chat. Sounds good. All right, awesome. Hey guys, we're going to get started in about about 5 minutes. I know that Jake is going to be jumping in here shortly. So, like I said, just a couple more people. And if there's only a handful of us, then you know what? We're just going to unmute the mics and we're going to have a nice discussion. It's actually nice sometimes when we only have a handful of people in the room. So just give me a couple more minutes. We're going to get the party started. Enjoy checking out Charlie Sheen and winning on the page right now. All right, guys. Hold on one second. I'm going to just take everybody. I'm opening up everybody's mic.
Mic 1, 2.
Jake, you got some sound there?
I can hear you.
Pretty good. Nick is saying he has no sound, but I do see two Nicks in the room, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's probably the same thing that happened 2 times ago.
Yeah, so Nick, if you have no sound, then what I would do is I would back out of the room and then come back in, and that should fix it up.
He obviously doesn't know that you just said that, though.
You're right. He doesn't know that I just said that. All right. So you know what, guys? We're gonna go ahead here, and we're just gonna get started.
I know we have some people that hit me up. They said they were joining late.
Okay. You know what? They can jump in, and obviously there's going to be a replay. And guys, Jake will get the replay up as soon as it renders out and everything else. Hang on one quick second. I'm just going to grab a quick bottle of water, and then we'll get started. All right, guys. So, all right. So let's get started. What we're going to be talking about today is we're going to be talking about the whole online reputation management segment of the SEO niche. Now, we're going to get into what I think is online reputation management and what other companies think are online. You know, what other people think online reputation management is. But obviously, there are lots of people out there that need online reputation management for multiple reasons. Either A, it's affecting their business. B, it's affecting them when they're trying to get a job, trying to get a date. You know, Charlie Sheen is maybe one of the only guys that I know that by completely self-destructing, it actually helped his career. So, you know, maybe Charlie Sheen is winning after all. And with that, we're gonna just kick right into it. The reason I wanted to do this segment in reference to online reputation management is that there are a lot of companies out there that say, oh, we do online reputation management, but they really don't do online reputation management the way that A, a lot of people would expect, and B, you know, offering a service that nobody else really out there offers. And we'll jump into exactly what that is. So, all right, without any further ado, and like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave everybody's mic open. If there's an issue with it, Jake, you know, if you want to just, you know, you can mute out mics if anybody's having a major issue or if there's major calamities in the background or something, okay?
Sure thing.
All right.
I think we should just mute it now for the presentation, though.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. I'll take care of that, but you can start.
Okay. So let's just go through a couple of different things. This is what we're going to cover. What is ORM? A lot of people don't even know what ORM stands for. It's just, you know, online reputation management. How does it work? Who offers it? How much can you get paid for it? How do you do it? Really, the most important part is, you know, what is your strategy? And then the absolute most important part is where to find your clients. Okay. You know, one of the biggest obstacles that you know, Jake and I have seen and Rich has seen is that, you know, there's a lot of people out there, they know how to do SEO. You know, they understand the basic principles of a lot of stuff, but they truly just don't know how to make sales. And, you know, Jake and I were kind of joking around, and we are going to go into this a little bit further, but, you know, there's a big difference between a CEO and an SEO. A CEO knows how to make money and an SEO knows how to make rankings, you know, and when you're in business for yourself, you got to be able to kind of cover both hats, you know, both EO hats. You know, take away the S, put in a C, take away the C, and put in an S. And that's kind of one of the most important parts of being successful online is being able to make those sales. And unfortunately, you know, that's part of the game. You have to if you're going to be in business for yourself. Otherwise, what you want to do is you just want to go out there and you want to get a job. Contact an SEO company, contact an online reputation management company, and work for them. I just couldn't do that. I like to work for myself. All right, so what is online reputation management? What is ORM? And according to Wikipedia, and I'm not going to sit here and read this stuff verbatim, you guys could actually read this stuff out yourself, but reputation management is the understanding or influencing of an individual's or a business's reputation. It used to be public relations, but with the advancements of websites and online publications and online articles and social media, it really made it an issue of search results. Hey, what's going on, man? Okay, so, a lot of people, they really associate reputation management with gray hat and black hat tactics. They try and censor negative comments and all that sort of stuff. Jake, I guess I didn't mute out hold on one second. I'm just going to mute out my chat, otherwise it's going to drive me nuts the entire time we're here. Okay. So, let me just jump back into this. So, basically online reputation management is the cleaning or keeping somebody's name, business name, clean online. Nobody likes to go online. Nobody likes to read anything bad about their business. Nobody likes to read anything bad about themselves. But let's move on because, yes, this is what Wikipedia says is the official definition of online reputation management. According to me, it's just pushing the negative content off page one and get paid a ton of money. I do a lot of online reputation management. Most of the stuff that I do in reference to online reputation management, it's not like, I have a bad review on Yelp. I have a bad review on my Google Plus page or my Google Map page or whatever the case may be. All these little business directory types of style sites that you can leave comments and you can leave negative comments or positive comments. I really have jumped into the online reputation management game, and I decided if I was going to do this, I'm not going to start nickel and diming it. I decided that I was going to go for the gusto, and going for the gusto really was getting big clients that, listen, I'm a CEO of a company. I got arrested smoking weed in the back of a taxi cab with a midget hooker, and the shit is all over page one on Google, and I need to get rid of it. My shareholders, my stockholders, and my employees, it's killing me. I just can't have it here. And, knowing who to target and knowing where the money is at, that's where you're going to make money with online reputation management. And, a lot of times people go, online reputation management. If you understand SEO and you understand the basic principles of SEO, then you're gonna crush it. All right. And it's really not that difficult. And I'm going to give you some tips in here that I've never shared with anybody that are just absolutely crazy, thought-changing, opportunities for you as far as online reputation management, and even it'll carry over to the SEO world for yourself. All right. So how does it work? Well, this is the down and dirty. The down and dirty is that you have to SEO all the sites that are under the bad press to raise them above the good press. Okay? To raise them above the bad press. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to take a snapshot, take a look. If somebody contacts you and says, listen, you know what, I've got an online reputation issue, what you're going to do is you're going to ask them for the keywords that they're looking to address. And trust me, that makes a big difference. You want to know exactly the keywords that they want to address. Every new keyword that you add into that search string is going to give you a completely different SERP result. We all know this from SEO. So what you got to do is you got to get the exact terms that they're looking for in order to be able to target them. you're going to have to either create new properties that will outrank the bad press or find the good properties that are under the bad press to push them up, okay? And basically that's all just about creating a foundation. So, who offers it? You know, a lot of companies out there offer online reputation management, and if you start to visit their websites, you're going to realize that they actually don't offer online reputation management like this. They will, you know, they'll help you with your bad reviews on some of these sites. They'll help you with, you know, basically, they don't really offer you, you know, the ability to change the SERPs, okay? What they do is they manage the shitstorm that you already have is what they basically do, okay? I don't do online reputation management like leaving fake good reviews. I think that that's bullshit. You know, I have a bad review on Yelp. Well, you know what? I'm sure that they're out there. You know, there are companies out there that will help you with that because these aren't people that are really willing to pay you. Okay, that sort of online reputation management, that sort of ORM. I don't get involved with it. I deal with bad SERP reviews and people who are desperate and have money, and I'm going to show you where to find them because they're actually pretty easy to find. People don't even realize that this service exists 9 times out of 10. They know that there's something that they can do, but then they'll contact one of these companies, and these companies won't actually do what you're going to learn how to do. So, who needs online reputation management? Well, maybe Charlie Sheen does, right? And actually, Charlie Sheen, I don't know if you guys know this, but Charlie Sheen actually paid close to $800,000 to a company to try and rebrand himself online and remove a lot of this bad press when the whole Tiger Blood thing and, you know, winning and basically making a lunatic of himself all over the place, and he was self-imploding. Now, a lot of people all know Charlie Sheen, right? But you might not know the guy to the right. Does anybody know who the guy to the right is? And Rich, don't jump in there because Rich knows who it is. Does anybody else know who this guy is just by looking at him? No. Okay, I'm going to give you a little hint. Does the 3 letters, Perry Promo, the 3 letters DSK ring a bell to anybody? Dominic Strauss-Kahn. Well, he was the head of the IMF, and he was the one involved in that huge sex scandal in New York City with the maid that was in the room, and wound up costing him his job at the IMF. And I mean, this is a guy who was worth literally billions and controlled a good portion of the economy throughout the world. You wouldn't know him by looking at him, but you know, this is somebody specifically who would be looking for online reputation management. And I know because he hired somebody for online reputation management. I can't tell you who those people are or who that person is because, well, let's just say there are certain reasons why I just can't tell you that. But DSK right here was willing to pay a fortune in order to have his reputation cleaned up. All right, so how much can you get paid for it? Well, it depends, all right? And this is where the shark in you better start coming out, okay? You got to be able to put your SEO skills together, and you got to be able to put your business skills together to actually figure out how much you can get paid, okay? Because there is no magic formula that says this is how much I'm going to charge somebody, all right? What I would suggest is that you don't jump right into somebody like DSK trying to, or even you know, Charlie Sheen trying to clean up their search results. I would suggest you start a little bit lower than that, okay? But you know, some of the factors, and these are just some of the factors. You know, what is the bad press? Okay, is the press just because somebody wants to get it off? Is it detrimental to the person? You know, you really got to have an idea of how bad this press is and how desperate this bad press has made this person become. Who is the person? If this is just a person who's a local guy who just doesn't want to have, you know, bad stuff being said about him online, okay, well, that's one price. Is this guy a public figure? Is this guy a CEO of a publicly traded company and he's in risk of possibly losing his job? Where is the bad press located? And there's 2 aspects to that, okay? What websites are they located on, and where on the SERPs are they located? Okay, because that's going to determine how much work you've got to do in order to be able to get that bad press off. Right below that, where in the SERPs is the bad press located? Obviously, if the bad press is number 10 on the page, it's going to be a hell of a lot easier than if it's number 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the page, and you've got to push down all of those, okay? Do they have money, all right? When we look at this and we look at, potential people for us either to approach or people that approach us, it's just like SEO in regards to this. Everybody wants to rank for something. It's going to help them one way or the other. Everybody wants to get stuff off of Google, but at the end of the day, are they willing to pay for it, and do they have money? Okay? If the answer is they really want it off, but they don't have money, guess what? That's not a potential client for you. Hate to break the news. I mean, we can all work for free all day long if we want to. There's unlimited amounts of free work out there for all of us. Okay? That's not the point. The point is they got to pay you. Okay? And because there's very few people out there on the web that can actually do this sort of stuff, you're in high demand whether you believe it or not, okay? It's your knowledge that they're paying for, all right? I've had certain things with online reputation management. I've had certain people that I went to clean up that, man, we were able to clean it up really, really, really fast. And they said, well, it only took you a week to clean it up, or it only took you, 2 days to clean up, or it only took you whatever, why am I paying you so much? I'm like, because if you hired somebody else, they wouldn't have been able to clean it up at all. So they got to have money. They got to be a legitimate, viable candidate for you to even try and take them on to begin with. And there better be a contract in order, okay? Because the one thing you don't want to do is clean up their bad press and then just have them stiff you. And I just never let that happen, okay? I get paid up front. Because once again, I'm just not going to get stiffed on that. So at the end of the day, when you want to find out how much you should get paid, it's how much work is it going to be to clean up their mess. Now, I have certain clients that are on retainer, and I get phone calls from them because they have a disaster that happens, and they go, well, how do I handle this? And they want to know, because they've already been through the mess once or twice, so they go, I want to know how to handle this. What should I do? But the problem is that oftentimes they don't take your advice. They take somebody else's advice, and they wind up getting themselves into a mess. And when they do that, I charge them extra. If I've told them how to stay out of the mess and they decide that they want to get themselves into the mess, well then, there's a mess charge, additional mess charge for them in order to clean up their mess. So you've got to figure out how you feel comfortable trying to bill somebody, okay? So you have a couple of different ways that you could potentially go about making the offering to them, okay? You want to be, a lot of times people are always like, I want to pay for results, which usually means I want to pay you afterwards, and if I decide you did a good job and I have money in my pocket, then I'll pay you, okay? Or if you have a written contract, then what they do is they pay you up front for, moving that bad press down one spot, okay, on Google, and then they pay you again in order to move it down the next spot. And, prepay is really what I think is the only name of the game, okay? Be paid by project, and I have a lot of people that they pay us by project. Get the bad press off, we're willing to pay you, $10,000 if you're able to remove this off of page 1. And that's it. It's by the project. So if I can get it done in 2 days, or if it takes me 3 months, I know that I have a set amount of money, I'm getting paid, period, the end. Or, the infamous paid by hour. A lot of times people don't want to do the whole paid by hour because of the fact that they say, well, you're going to take your time. How do I know that you're working on it? The paid by project, aspect, you better kind of know how much work is involved, or you could lose your shirt on it. But if you do know what you're doing, it's the best way to go and make the most amount of money in the shortest period of time. But at the end of the day, you need to feel, you need to decide what you feel comfortable with. Your client needs to feel comfortable with it. And as long as you're both comfortable with it, then obviously, you move on from there. But really, these are the only 3 offerings that you have: pay by results, pay by the project, or pay by the hour. If anybody can think of another offering, I'm always willing to learn something. But those are really the only 3 that in this niche really kind of make sense. All right. So now that we've kind of gotten over some of the boring stuff, we're going to get into some more of the exciting stuff, all right? And this is sort of like the step-by-step guide of what I do. And not that what I do is always, the same way that everybody else will do it, but I only know the way that I do it. So, and I do know the way that a couple of other people do it, but I've kind of taken what I've learned from everybody else and put it all into my basket, and this is the way that I do it. The first thing you want to do when they contact you, okay, and this is even with SEO, all right, when somebody contacts you and says, listen, these are the keywords that I either want off, I want bad press removed from, or these are the keywords that I want to rank for. First thing I do is I take a screenshot. I take a screenshot, I put the customer's name on it, and I put the date on it. My screenshot software just automatically puts the date in, and then I just put the client's name in with it as well. And why this is so important is this. I had a client, and Jake remembers this. I had a client that came to us and was like, listen, and this was on the SEO side, I want to rank for these particular keywords. And he gave me all of his stuff, and he was ranking like, the bottom of page 1 at the time. And, he goes, well, how much would it be? And we gave him a quote, okay? He came back to me about a month and a half later, and he said, okay, I'm ready to move forward now. Well, when I went back to the screenshot and then I go back to Google and see where this guy actually ranks, he got absolutely slammed by Penguin, okay? His other SEO company that was in there got him freaking completely penalized. I mean, when I say completely penalized, the guy was sitting back on, page 8 at this point. So now my quote is obviously going to be very different. And I said to him, listen, man, I go, you guys, the reason you're calling me right now is because you got hit by Penguin. He goes, oh, what are you talking about? I go, well, this was your results the first day that we spoke and that I gave you a quote on, and these are your results now. And obviously I clearly see that you guys got hit by Penguin, which changed the whole ball game completely. They were impressed that I knew that they got hit by Penguin. They really didn't want to admit it, but after it was all said and done, they had to admit it. But it put me in the driver's seat, and I was able to actually get a lot more money because there was going to be a lot more work involved. So the first thing you want to do is you want to take a screenshot. So if this person set also on the online reputation management side, when they say, oh, well, you're not doing anything or whatever else, well, you can show them that original screenshot, and it's there for your records, and that's not going to change. So first thing you better do when somebody contacts you, you figure out exactly which words they have bad results showing up in the SERPs for. You take a screenshot. You identify with them which are the bad URLs, which is what are the bad SERPs that they need removed, and you just document it, just real fast. What I do is, like I said, I take a screenshot and then I just mark it up with my in my screenshot editor, okay, and I just put boxes around the bad press, and this way I just have it for my own records. All right. The reason why you want to do this is before you even start to think about taking on a client, you want to know exactly what it is that you're up against. I'm just going to scroll this over. So I was just doing a little bit of research. I think this was maybe yesterday. And this was Lori Carmichael Quigley, okay? She is apparently a teacher that got arrested and facing sexual assault charges. Well, there aren't that many people out there named Lori Carmichael Quigley, and you can see exactly what's going on with her. I mean, she has complete and utter page domination here. She's got all of the images, and you could tell very quickly that some of them are mugshots. This one this first one here is a mugshot. The second one here is a mugshot. The third one here looks like a picture of her, like a school picture. And then the other two are just pictures that people had and put into articles. But all the rest of these are all bad articles. There's even a news spot for her, okay? And that's something that, we're going to want to keep track of. We're going to want to see how many videos. We're going to want to see if there's a news spot. Now, a news spot is actually not always bad, and I'm going to explain to you why in a couple of minutes, but that news spot just makes things very interesting for us. So when you actually see that news spot pop up, that should just trigger something in your head, and you'll understand why in a couple of minutes. But on something like this, obviously, I'm going to have to charge a ridiculous amount of money because I got to change the entire SERP for this person. It's not just a matter of, this one down here is bad. I mean, the whole page is bad. So, once again, that's going to determine how much I'm charging. Now, she's a teacher. I don't know what her salary is, but obviously she's desperate. She wants this off. So, we'd have to talk. We'd have to find out whether it's worthwhile for us to even take this on or not. Okay. Once again, what are you seeing? Are you seeing that the results in the SERP pages, are they authoritative bad results from authoritative websites, or are they bad SERPs from a forum? Are they bad SERPs from what are they exactly? Are they where's the bad press coming from? All right, there's a couple of websites that you kind of really need to be aware of. All right, and when I say you need to be aware of, they're tough to beat in the SERPs. Everybody here has seen Ripoff Report, right? In the SERPs, pissed off consumer, New York Times. We have plenty of people that contact us that were in the New York Times, Huffington Post, same sort of thing. These are all really authoritative websites. Now, somebody might say, well, I don't really know Ripoff Reporter. I don't know Pissed Off Consumer. Well, once you get into online reputation management, you're going to know the two of them. And there's a handful of other ones out there, but those are like the two, 800-pound gorillas in the forest. Obviously, the New York Times, if you don't know who the New York Times is, then, pick up a freaking newspaper. The Huffington Post, once again, bought out by AOL, huge authoritative website. So if you're seeing bad results, if you're seeing bad press in the SERPs, and they're coming from like Rip-Off Report or Pissed Off Consumer, just understand that they're not just your run-of-the-mill, ordinary, bad SERP results. They're like super-powered bad results, if you will. Okay, they're like highly charged, and they're really sometimes really tough to get rid of. Like Rip-Off Report, I think if you pay them like $2,000, they'll take it off or something. I mean, I would never pay $2,000 for them to take it off unless it was, absolutely required, and my customer would be paying that. They're just tough to beat. They're tough to beat in the SERP. So, as you start getting into this, you're going to see that there are a couple of websites that start popping up that just know that, it's not just another SERP result that's bad. It's like a supercharged bad SERP result. All right, we got to jump into what's the strategy, all right? Because really the reason why you guys are sitting on this webinar is not just to hear me banter. It's because you guys really want to learn how to do this. So that's what we're going to jump into right now. First thing you got to do is you got to figure out what your strategy is, okay? And you really have three choices, and you guys should write this down, even though there's going to be a replay, but you should really write this down, okay? You got three choices of how you're going to deal with a bad SERP result, okay? You're either going to get it removed, you're going to suppress it, which means either push it down off page one, or maybe even Google bomb the crap out of it and try and get it penalized, or you're going to replace it. And replacing it is something that's really interesting. Nobody has ever taught this ever before. It's something that we use quite a bit, and it's just something that's ridiculously effective. And it was something that was really just staring me in the face for a long period of time, and I just never really quite realized it. And I'm going to show you how to do that, and it's pretty wild. All right, so those are your three options. Like I said, you can either remove the bad press, you can suppress the bad press, or you can replace the bad press. Now, it's imperative that your customer, once you take on somebody, that they understand that sometimes this bad press, the bad press usually just doesn't go away, okay? It goes to where all good things die, which is on page 2 of Google, okay? Removing the bad press, yes. Sometimes we can get the bad press removed, and I'll explain to you some of the little techniques, and you're going to be like, duh, you got to be kidding me. That's what you do. Suppressing the bad press, pushing it off of page 1. And they have to understand that, it's going to live somewhere online. But most people don't go past page 1 of Google, okay? Or you can replace it, which replacing it is kind of just really cool. And it does kind of go away from online, but it's still living out there. So they need to understand that, because a lot of times people have pitched them, and I've even seen in Rip-Off Report, people make complaints and go, all this online reputation management company did was push the bad press off of page 1. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, I'm looking at this person, now tearing this online reputation management, a new company, a new ass. I'm going, they did exactly what they were supposed to do. But this person apparently didn't understand what the process was and what was going to happen for them. So, like, educate your customers. We've talked about it in other webinars. One of the best things that you can do is explain to your customers exactly what you have to do. They don't know how to do it, but if you explain to them what you need to do, then they're going to respect your work and they're going to be willing to pay you a lot more and continue to pay you because of the fact that you've educated them and now they have an idea of how much work is actually involved. So just going back to this, remove, suppress, replace. Those are our three options. So let's jump into remove. There are lots of different ways to have content removed, okay? It does depend on the type of website that it's sitting on, okay? Will the SERP result actually remove itself? And yes, sometimes it absolutely will remove itself. And I'll explain to you right now how that does in fact happen. But let's get into, there's a bunch of different ways to have content removed. If it's if it's a website, if you have bad press on a website that doesn't have a vested interest in the person that the bad press is about, pay them. Pay them money to have the SERP removed. I will tell you 9 times out of 10, more than 9 times out of 10, 99 out of 100 times, everybody, they have a price, okay? And, the price might be a little bit more than you expect, but it might also be a little less than you expect. And I'll tell you, I've gone to plenty of websites where I've contacted, either one of the moderators or the owner of a particular forum or whatever else and said, look, I need the SERP result removed, and listen, I'm willing to pay you $50 to remove it. And just give me your PayPal address. I'll be more than happy to shoot the money over. And you'd be shocked. The shit is gone, and they're like, yeah, pay me. Meanwhile, I would have been willing to pay them $200 to get it gone because I was charging my client, $2,000. Okay. Yeah. Offer to have the content paid to be removed. Okay. You can approach them and say, listen, I understand your time is valuable. I understand, but I'd like to compensate you for this. Really feel that my client was unfairly, skewed in this forum post. And, if you would remove it, it would be greatly appreciated. I'd be more than happy to send you over $50 in PayPal in order for you to handle this in a timely manner. And you're bribing them basically to say, listen, get this shit off the page. And you'd be shocked about how many people will do that. Okay. There are some times that, like I said, for instance, if it's a blogger that has a vendetta against you or your client or whatever else, they're not going to be willing to remove it, and don't even approach them because it's only going to fuel the fire even more. So you just got to know when to do that and when not to do that, okay? Will the content remove itself? Yes, sometimes it does. The greatest thing that ever happened in the online reputation management industry was when these newspapers realized that they couldn't monetize themselves anymore, these online newspapers, and they go, man, we can't monetize ourselves. So then what happened was they started using a bunch of different models, okay? So what would happen is they would put an article up there, and that article would live there for, let's say, 10 days, and then it would get kicked into an archive, and if you wanted to read the article, then you had to be a paying member in order to get into the article. Or they would move, and when they did that, it usually changed the URL, and it put it into an area where the robot.txt file, covered that section that those articles were in, so people couldn't just find it using Google operators, using Google search operators. So what happened was, effectively, that article was gone, and it would just take a little while for that original URL to fall right out of Google. After Google came back a couple of times and got a 404 error because that page didn't exist anymore, it would just drop out of the SERPs. The goal was to know which newspapers did that and which newspapers didn't, which online papers did it and which online papers didn't do it. And you could usually find out pretty quickly because you just go to to their subscription section, and they would tell you exactly, you could read the paper for free, but after 7 days, the articles are only available for a paying membership of, $9.95 a month or whatever else, and you can view all the articles. So just by going into their subscription section and reading their little, sales pitch about what you're going to get for that subscription will tell you whether that article will drop off or not, okay? So that's something huge to know. I mean, we've had clients that paid us, and the only thing that we could do was just wait until the shit dropped off, all right? Did I feel bad? Yeah, sort of, but they were paying for my knowledge to know that the shit was going to drop off, and if it didn't drop off for some reason, then obviously I was going to have to go in there and I was going to have to do something. But just having the knowledge itself is key, okay? So, yes, you can have content removed by paying to have it removed, or asking to have it removed, just it dropping out of the SERP itself. We've even gone so far as to do negative SEO on that particular article and just bomb it with, Fiverr links and blog, spammy blog comment posts, wikis, everything. Google's getting a little smarter to that, and you actually have to do it over a larger period of time. For all you people out there that are worried about negative SEO, if you just go to Fiverr and you buy like a 200,000, backlink, bomb that you're going to throw at somebody, well, it doesn't work. You actually got to you should be ordering them once a week, okay? Because what Google realizes is that, if they see that one bomb hit it, Google kind of looks at it and says, okay, that was an anomaly, and they just kind of push it off to the side. If you hit it week after week after week after week, that's where the negative SEO will actually come in. It will actually take a lot longer now. We used to be able to penalize something in a matter of, literally a couple of days, and it would trigger, like Penguin to just smack the site. Now it actually takes a lot longer, all right? Because Google actually wants to see that there's a pattern, that's constant influx of links. It's not just one spike and then that's it. So, I'm not endorsing negative SEO, but if you want to do it, that's how you have to do it. And if there's no other way, then you got to drop the nuclear bomb on it and say, okay, I got a negative SEO this site. And that's honestly one of the last results that you should ever do, is try and do like a negative SEO bomb on it, because I've had it actually backfire where that thing went right up to the top of the search results. You have a lot of explaining to do when you do it. So, okay, so that's all about removing. All right, suppressing. Suppressing is literally just, you start off with the, where it is on the page. Let's say the bad press is in the number 6 spot. Okay, you're gonna have to know, I got to get the guy sitting in the number 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 spot. Okay, an 11 spot, because you got to push that 7 spot onto, into the 11 spot, which is on page 2. So you actually have to do SEO on multiple sites at this point in order to try and suppress that bad content. All right. The first question is also, what does their foundation look like? I mean, do they have a Facebook page? Do they have a Twitter account? Do they have a LinkedIn account? And I'm going to get into some of the things that we're going to want to look for to see if they have a good foundation to begin with. And if they don't, we need to build that foundation for them. All right. But, suppressing just basically means we got to SEO everything below it, or we got to create new content that automatically rises above this. So suppressing is a little tough. All right. But once again, this is how most of online reputation management is done. It's just suppressing it. It's just grabbing those good pieces of press, or even neutral pieces of press. And neutral pieces of press means that it could be about something that is completely unrelated to your client at all. But hey, if it's not bad, then it's good. Okay, because there's only two sides of the fence here. Okay, it's either good press, and good press equals good press, and neutral press, or completely unrelated press and bad press. Okay, so bad press is an animal all of its own. Everything else is considered to be good press. Now, replace. And replacing is like one of the coolest tricks in the world. Google has truly hooked us up with this, okay? And you got to thank Google. Jake, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just share my desktop real fast, guys, and then I'm going to try and jump back into this. But I might wind up messing this up, so just bear with me. Hey, Jake, you guys aren't seeing my screen, are you? I mean, you're seeing my screen, but you're not actually seeing the,
No, we just see the PowerPoint.
Right now, you still just see the PowerPoint?
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. Let me just try this and see if this works.
Did Java start?
Yeah, it's trying to.
It looks like we have 2 Thomases and 2 Nicks.
Welcome to both.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I actually got it working. Hang on one sec. All right, you see me now?
Yep, it's loaded.
All right, so here, I'm just gonna show you real fast. Okay, so this is actually this guy's a really good friend of mine, and he had a major problem. Okay, and I'll give you the story about actually what transpired with him. He's actually a camp director, and what happened was years ago there was a doctor that worked at their camp. Can you hear me?
Yep.
What's the matter, Jake? Okay.
No,
So,
it just wasn't.
So there was a doctor that worked at their camp. Is it displaying now?
Yep, it's all good.
Okay. So there was a doctor that worked at his camp, and what happened was the doctor was like the head of pediatrics at I think it was a Boston University hospital or something. Like it was a big hospital, and what happened was the guy got arrested on child pornography, having child pornography and sharing child pornography online and everything else. Now, poor Walter had nothing to do with this, obviously, but, they got wind that, and this is a big story, the head of like pediatrics at Boston University Hospital is arrested on child pornography charges. I mean, pretty big story, I would say, What happened was it was actually the Boston Globe and Boston.com. They actually went out and they started doing a lot of research on this guy. And apparently the U.S. Attorney's Office had said that this guy worked at summer camps, this, that, the other thing. And they tracked it down that he worked at this guy's summer camp years ago. Even though the camp had nothing to do with this doctor, except the doctor worked at the camp years ago for 1 month during one summer. It didn't really matter. Okay. Everybody, the newspapers would just anything that they could get on this guy, they wanted to publish. And what happened was, these publications started calling Walter and saying, we want to comment, we want to comment, we want to comment. Now, Walter called me up and said, well, what do I do? Do I give him a comment? Do I not give him a comment? And my first answer to Walter was, shut up, don't say anything. I don't want you to say anything. And he goes, yeah, but they call me 10 times a day, 15 times a day. I said, Walter, don't say anything. The story will blow over. The story is not your story. You don't have a dog in this fight. Just stay out of it. Don't say anything. Well, they brought in a PR company, and the PR company says to them, no, you guys need to make a statement and get out in front of this. So Walter goes ahead and Walter makes a statement and says, listen, we cooperated with the U.S. Attorney's Office. There was never any, allegations at our camp. That's it. Well, now Walter was ranking on page 1 for Boston.com. And, this article was right there. And it was like this doctor, worked at this camp or was arrested for child pornography. And Walter was calling me freaking out because parents were asking him, like, what's the deal? I Google your name because it's an overnight camp. So people, they really want to do their investigation into the camp director and the summer camp and everything else. And people are like, dude, what's the deal, man? You had a doctor that worked there that was molesting kids and into child pornography. Just wasn't a good scene for him. They had a deal, or they have a deal going right now with Nike, Nike.com, and Nike.com has all these sports summer camps. And Nike was like, man, you got to get rid of this. Otherwise, our deal is off with you guys. So we went in and we started working on it. And what happened was there was this whole article here. There was a whole article on Boston.com. And I'll tell you, man, we tried everything to get rid of this thing. I mean, everything to get rid of it. As you can see, we put stuff on All Voices, and I'll tell you about All Voices in a few minutes. We put up a couple of videos. We just spam the living hell out of like WordPress and all these other, answers, all sorts of crazy stuff. Rediff, WordPress, Daily Motion. We tried a bunch. Blogspot, as you can see. We tried a bunch of them, and they just weren't doing the job. And what we did was we said, wait a second, and this was like a perfect example of this. I said, there's got to be something on Boston.com that we can create a better optimized page for Walter. And, Google's only going to show, usually Google only shows one page from one website in the SERP results, okay? So maybe that optimized page will be better optimized than the other page that they had, because Walter's name wasn't in the title tag or anything else on that other page. His name was literally mentioned once in the article, and it was ranking like number 3 for his name. So what we did was we went on to Boston.com and said there has to be a place where we can actually create some content on Boston.com. If we've got to, write a letter to the editor about something that Walter has done or whatever the case may be. And we found that in the calendar section, okay, we could actually, even though it was a subdomain, that we could actually create a location, a venue, okay? And we did. We went in there, we created a venue, and boom, sure enough, now we were able to put Walter right into the title tag. And then Google, as soon as they indexed this page, they said, this page is actually more relevant to Walter than the other page was. And believe it or not, it knocked out the other page out of the SERP result and replaced it with this one because it was the same exact website, just a better optimized page. And we were in control of the page, and the page obviously said nothing bad about, Walter and everybody else. So, it was a really pretty cool, little technique that we pulled. Hey, Jake, are you still hearing me good?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So, like I said, I wanted to share the little replace method, and this thing works like a charm. And since then, we've been using it nonstop. If there's a forum that you got some bad press in, well, guess what? Open up a new, just open up a new thread, put the exact keywords that you want to rank for in the title of that thread. It now becomes the page title, and throw a couple of links to it one way or the other, and all of a sudden now that page is better optimized than the other page that was sitting in there, and you literally replace the results in the Google SERP with that new page that you created on that same site. It is absolutely, like I said, it works like a charm. For us to try and push down something from Boston.com, I'm telling you, we had thrown so much at this and it just didn't want to go anywhere. So we found that this replace method works like a charm. I only know of one other online reputation management company that actually does this, because I spoke to them afterwards and they were just like, yeah, dude, we did it. And they showed me a couple of examples that they did. And, like I said, it works incredibly fast. As soon as Google indexes this page, and there are ways that you can get this thing to index quickly, because it's Boston.com and the crawlers are constantly going through the website. But this website, like I said, it took 2 days from the time that we put this up, maybe 2.5 days, from the time that we put this page up for this thing to take out that other SERP result. And boom, the problem was gone. So this is an absolutely awesome method. The problem is that it's not always readily available for you, or sometimes you got to go digging for it a little bit more. Okay, so I'm gonna close this out, and I'm gonna get back to my presentation. So that is my really cool trick of the day, okay, is the replace method. Hold on one second, let me just read what Kevin is writing here. All right, yeah, Kevin, you know what? It will pop in and out. So you see the article, right? As you can see, different IP addresses and different names, different Google servers, data servers. It's still in the process of indexing it in, indexing it out. Eventually, it will just die. So, unfortunately, there are some places where it still will show up. But it's like I said, it is by far one of the best methods of trying to get it out. Unfortunately, I guess on certain IPs it will take a little bit longer for it to work. But that's interesting that you're saying that you're showing it up. Now, Kevin, where are you located? Just trying to get an idea of IP address. You're in Detroit. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what we do. We would actually go in there, we'd make another post on Boston.com. It's easy enough for us to do. We know that we can do it. I mean, in 2 seconds, I can make, I can make Walter a singer who has an event coming up, and sure enough, that will just knock it out the last portion, because Google's not going to show, more than 2 results in that SERP. But usually the 1 is enough just to knock it out. So, that's a really, really, really cool trick. And, it'll take you about 15, 20 minutes to navigate around the site and figure out whether or not it's something that you can exploit or not. But we do like to thank Google for the fact that, they don't like to give out a whole lot of SERPs on the first page for the same website. So, thank you, Matt. Thank you, Google. We appreciate it. It makes our life a little bit easier. All right. So let's say now that I have Walter, okay? What I'm going to do is I really want to try and poke the SERPs, and I really want to see what it's going to take in order to make that bad press move. All right. So it's time to poke the SERP. And when I say poke the SERP, what we're going to want to do, it's not like poking like link poking. All right. We're gonna just hit it with we're gonna see if there's a Twitter account, if a Twitter account exists, if it's on page 2. We're gonna start to take complete audit of what we actually have to work with, and then what we need to create. All right. So you want to go ahead and you want to start building a foundation if that foundation does not exist. Okay. And if the foundation doesn't exist, the 3 things that you're going to want to do yourself is you're going to be the one that wants to create the Twitter account. Once again, create an email address, Walter, orm@gmail.com or whatever the hell it may be, okay? Actually, use the person's full name if you're going to make a Gmail account, because you'll get a Google Plus page, which will work really well for you as you move forward. But you want to hook up your Twitter account to it. You want to create a Twitter account if it doesn't exist, a Facebook account, and even if it does exist, to create another one. A LinkedIn account, because those 3 right off the bat, just start doing searches for anybody on the web. Those are usually the ones that you'll see right off the bat. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. They're so high, the websites have such high authority that right off the bat they usually rank page 1. Okay, what you want to do next is, you want to start building out your foundation as far as your profiles. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Noam.com. I used to use Noam all the time, and Noam was just a list of really cool websites that you could create like a profile on. And I'm not talking about like forum profiles. I'm talking about, they would have WordPress.com, they'd have Tumblr.com, they would have everybody, and they had it all broken down into different niches as far as like arts and social networking and business and what I would do is I would have one of my VAs go in there and basically create like 300 accounts and start interlinking them all together to be able to start creating like this massive profile for this one person. Okay. Hold on one second. You want a spelling of Noam? Let me just double check and make sure. Hold on. So Noam.com, like I said, it has just a ton of. Actually, you know what? Let me bring us over there. We can go take a quick look while we're here. All right, you guys see this? All right, so I could put in Walter. Now, he also had like a really kind of unique last name, so there weren't going to be that many of them out there. What you do is you put in his name. You know what? I'm sorry. I messed up. You don't want to put the space in there. Okay? And it starts going through and it tells you on Etsy he's available, on, LinkedIn, because we actually put his middle initial on LinkedIn, Flickr, Squidoo, Pinterest, and you can start seeing right here. Also, it will check, the domain name availability, You can actually click over here and it will give you more domain names that are all available, all sorts of crazy stuff. I can click here. We could check over 500 more different social networks just to see, and we'll just check and see if those names are available. So I don't even have to start going in there and digging around. I can go from category to category and just start, it will check for me whether that name is available. And I want that name because that name just being in the URL will obviously help it rank tremendously right off the bat. So Noam.com, I absolutely love Noam. It just makes life that much easier. Okay, so I'm going to close that out again. So the other thing that you can do is if you don't want to go through Noam.com, you can go to Fiverr.com or SEOclerks.com, and there are people that will build out some of these profiles for you. Now, when they're building out or you're building out these profiles, you want to make sure that everything stays the same. If I'm going to create a fake Walter Sinilowski, okay, I want to use the same everything across the board. I want to use the same state that I live in. I want to use the same birthday. I want to use everything because you never know. I don't know what each one of these websites put out in that profile, okay, and I want to make sure that it matches up, okay. It's sort of like doing local citations for websites. And we're going to get into that in a different training things, like NAP, name, address, place. You want to make sure that citation is consistent from one profile to the next. And you always want to create your Twitter, your Facebook, and your LinkedIn accounts first. Because as you create these other ones, it will automatically ask you, do you want to bring in your Twitter account? Do you want to bring in your Facebook account? Do you want to bring in your LinkedIn account? You want to have those already set up ahead of time, and you always want to set it all up to one email address. So at the end of the day, you could take that one email address and just turn it over to the client if they want it, okay? And that obviously you're not going to continue to get spammed, or you're not going to use up your email address on trying to create one for one client, okay? So like I said, you can hop over to Noam if you want to do it yourself, or let's say if you have a VA, you can go to Fiverr.com. There are great gigs there for that too. Once again, I still like Fiverr.com if you know what you're doing. Trying to do SEO through Fiverr.com is a little tough these days, but there's plenty of things that you can use Fiverr.com for. I mean, going out there and building out profiles for you, if you give them all the information, it's a no-brainer. It's just it's mindless work. So. No, you could do it, Nick. You could do it either way. You're either doing it for them, or you can create a new fake person. You really got to touch base with your client, because some of them basically say, no, I need it done for me, and some of them will say, no, I'm perfectly fine. Create a new person that for Walter it's a little tough because there aren't that many Walter Sinilowskis running around. Okay. But if, there's like a John Applebaum, okay, there may be plenty of other John Applebaums out there. Okay, so it really depends. You've got to work usually within the constraints of what your client feels comfortable with, and then they got to let you run with the ball. Okay, I have some clients that basically say, I don't care what you do. You want to create a fake person? I don't care. Just go out and do it. Other of them, they want to dictate how they want it done. So the ones that want to dictate how they want it done, they always pay more. So if you want some quick results, okay. All Voices is one of my favorite places to get quick ranking articles up that are free. You can sign up as what they call a stringer reporter, okay? And a stringer reporter basically means, and there's tons of websites out there like this. I'm actually going to be doing a post in the forum with a bunch of the different places that you can look for, and I want you guys to help me actually build out a big list, okay? But if you go to allvoices.com, you'll actually see on good old Walter here. Let me just back. Okay, so allvoices.com right here. And it's contributed news. and I contributed the news basically saying that, Walter is a freaking awesome guy, and, he announced that he's returning back to camp. It was very, very, very newsworthy, okay? But the stuff ranked on page 1, like within a minute or two of me publishing it. I didn't even have to try and index it. It was ridiculous. And All Voices loves to give you, for whatever reason, they'll always give you, like, you'll see 2 in the SERP results. And that usually takes a little while because of how they, it's completely different URLs. One is usually the image, and the other one is the actual URL. Now, Walter's other issue was that this doctor was showing up in his images, so we had to actually go in and we had to optimize his images as well. And All Voices was great for that. Get like 4 pictures, 5 pictures of the person. If you got to clean up the image search results, and you can use All Voices for that. And there are other websites out there just like All Voices where you could go in there. It actually works great for link building too, where you're sort of like putting out a press release. Just don't over abuse it because they will shut it down. Other websites have done it in the past. So All Voices, though, freaking rocking website. And like I said, there's plenty of other ones out there just like that, where they allow you to put in contributed news or stringer reporting and stuff like that. And that stuff works absolutely awesome for online reputation management. Okay, so that article is at number 5 in Philadelphia as well. Yep, as you can see on my page, it's not showing up. And I know out in California it's not showing up and everything else. It's still a little bit of a work in progress, Like I said, we'll go back into Boston.com and we'll slap another article in there, and that'll push that right out. So like I said, quick results. No, I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it because that's the one thing that's really difficult in online reputation management, and even with SEO. Different IP addresses, you're getting totally different results. So I really do appreciate you letting me know. Like I said, quick results, All Voices. YouTube videos, we all know, if you're on any mailing list for any internet marketer, all they scream about is YouTube videos. What ranks even better, and a lot of you guys probably already know this, but actually create a Google Hangout. Do a Google Hangout for like a minute. It doesn't have to be anything really all that impressive. But for whatever reason, Google actually ranks the Hangouts better than it ranks YouTube videos themselves, because they know that it's basically unique content. Where a YouTube video has it has micro data that's attached to that video. So if you were sharing it or whatever else, they just know that it's the same video. But Google Hangouts just rock right to page 1 usually, and if not, the very top of page 2. So just a little bit of backlinking to it, and it will bring you right into page 1. Exact match domain names, okay? I don't care what anybody says. Exact match domain names still work. I don't care about EMD updates or whatever else, okay? EMD updates come, the EMD update will come and it will bite you and it will hunt you down in the middle of the forest when there's commercial intent all over it, okay? If it's somebody's name, it's not commercial intent. Don't go too crazy with the article that you put on it. Put the person's name in the title tag, put it once in, an H2 tag, and sprinkle it around the article a little tiny bit, and you're good. Okay? That's all you need to know about that. Get the exact match domains though. Get a handful of them. I actually didn't do it with Walter because I thought we just knocked it right out with this. But once again, grab a couple of different domain names or whatever else. And I want to show you guys other examples, but some of them I actually can't show you because of the fact that I have non-disclosure agreements with some of these, with some of the clients. They don't want me talking about, that we do anything for them at all. So that's the reason why, I can't get into certain people that we may have, gone over. So exact match domains still work, okay? Press releases work like an absolute charm, okay? But not the bullshit press releases. And I've discussed this on the forum as well, and I've discussed it on other hangouts and other trainings. The bullshit press releases don't work, okay? And I'm talking, when I say a bullshit press release, I'm talking about the ones that go to the ones that don't have real distribution, the ones that aren't actually showing up in real newspapers, okay? The one I have, I don't even have on this computer, but it's like, I have it posted in the forum. It's a great press release distribution network. I don't have anything to do with it. They charge about $129, I think, but they send the article to like 500 different local, like real life, online newspapers, if you will. Okay. Google looks at these, they all have very strong local authority, like, the San Antonio Star or something similar to that, okay? It would also be like, BostonGlobe.com. They do syndications to like real legitimate news sources, not like, PR submissions.biz. You don't want to be using press releases like that, where it shows up on their press release site. The best it's going to do is it's going to get into Google News for like a day and it's going to drop off. Okay. When we were talking about Google News before, I love when we see something pop up for news because that will go away like within a matter of days. Okay. It will just die off. There's nothing you need to do. It's sort of like those newspapers that put stuff into the archive. It just dies off. And, you don't have to worry about it because it will just go away. So like I said, press releases are dynamite if you use the correct press release services. You want real distribution to like real authoritative local, online newspapers. So this is sort of where your SEO chops come into play, okay? I'm not going to sit here and explain to you how to do SEO. You guys you wouldn't be here if you didn't know how to do SEO on at least, the most basic form, okay? A little backlinking and everything else. It's a matter of creating the foundation, which is, starting off with your Facebook, your Twitter, your LinkedIn, knowing what the landscape of that bad press is, which is, how far do I have to push something? Can I just have it replaced? Can I get it removed? And before I start throwing numbers and quoting out clients, I like to jump in there a little tiny bit and I like to find out what my strategy is going to be and how much work I actually think I need to get done. Because if I know that I can replace a SERP result, it's obviously a lot less work than having to push something all the way down the page, right? And if I know that if I can approach somebody and say, listen, you know what, if I give you $100, would you remove this off the page? And they say, hell yeah. I go right back to the client. I go, listen, let's do this, but we got to do it, now. And, it's going to be $2,000. I'm going to pay this guy $100 to get it removed off the page. And then, build them up a decent, a decent foundation underneath that, get a Facebook, a Twitter, a LinkedIn, and a bunch of these known websites, and maybe, secure his exact match domain for his name, and we're going to move on with life. Because just because you did online reputation management for this person today doesn't mean that they're not going to screw up and get back in the newspaper, 6 months from now. And you're not guaranteeing that they're going to stay clean forever. You're guaranteeing them these search results we will get rid of. Okay. And in my contract, I put the actual, this is the URL that we're working on. This is the search term that we're working on. And these are the two URLs that we are contracted to, get off of on page one. So, you got to be specific. Okay. So let's get into real fast, how to find clients. Okay. Because let's face it, you could be the best SEO or you could be the, Nick, we can definitely get the contract out there. That's definitely not a problem. You could be the best SEO, you could be the best online reputation management person out there, but if you sure as hell don't have a client that you can sell this to, then, what's the point, right? Because, it's just like anything. If you don't have a place to sell your product, if you don't have a person to sell it to, well, then you can have the greatest product under the sun and sort of like building a website if you have no search engine result, if you have absolutely no SEO results, right? So one of the things that I've used in the past, and this is difficult, I'm not going to lie, okay? And then after this slide, I'm going to get into one that's like really, really, really super easy and simple, okay? But I like to use Google Alerts, okay? And I'm going to show you what I do with Google Alerts. Everybody here is somewhat familiar with Google operators, If not, you're going to get a real fast crash course because you don't have a choice. Okay, before I leave this page, let me just do this. Somebody give me their local online newspaper, and you can just put the URL right in the chat. So we'll use that as an example. Anyone? I don't want to use my local newspaper because I do it all the time. So if anybody has their local newspaper, like whatever it is, the Orange County Tribune or, okay, Lancaster Online. That's perfect. There we go. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab Lancaster Online. We are going to scroll up here on my screen because I want to share my screen again. Okay. So now that I'm on my screen, just so you guys know that I can't see what you guys are chatting. So, Jake, if you just jump in there if somebody has questions, okay? So let's just do this. If you guys aren't familiar with Google Operators, we're going to be doing a little course on Google Operators. We'll get it up on the forum as well. But site colon, right? I mean, anybody who has a SERP landlord site or anybody who has, their own site, you want to see how many pages are indexed or what site is indexed, use your site colon, right? We're going to pop in here Lancaster Online. So what I'm doing right now is I'm using the Google operator through Google Alerts, okay? Now, when you go to Google Alerts, you're going to see a page just like this, okay? You're going to be able to type in, let's say, your local page here, your local newspaper site, all right? So I'm going to do a site colon Lancaster Online. So now I should only be getting results from lancasteronline.com. I'm going to go to news, and sure enough, yep, I'm only getting now 10 results from Lancaster Online. You can see it here. And what's so cool about Google Alerts is that it actually shows you everything dynamically right here on the page right next to it as you do it. So I can change, let's say, as it happens to once a day or once a week. So now I did once a week. Then I'm going to do arrested. Okay, one arrested after 3-alarm fire in Pennsylvania. Okay, ex-student says he did nothing wrong before arrest. 2 men killed in Pocono's home. 1 arrested. Well, that guy's probably not going to be a good paying customer, right? He's going to be sitting behind jail. U.S. Marshals nabbed man in South Carolina. Well, it was in police abuse trial focuses on victims' dreadlocks. Pittsburgh man who escaped from hospital court. Okay. So let's just take a read through this one. Ex-student says he did nothing wrong before arrest. Jordan Miles. Let's check out Jordan Miles real fast. And we're going to see if Jordan Miles, justice for Jordan Miles. Okay. Police officer testifies Jordan Miles to blame for his own injury. Police officer testify about altercation with Jordan. Jordan's got some bad press here, right? I mean, definitely cops accused of beating. This looks like they're beating it out in the press anyway. So maybe this wouldn't be such a hot one to go after, okay? Because Jordan seems to like being in the press a little bit. Let's go with 1 arrested after the fire in PA. Do we have anybody named? No, we don't have anybody named. Okay, so once again, that's not going to help us. Let's just grab this one. Two men killed in the Poconos. And that's a shame because I go to the Poconos all the time. 54-year-old man, call 911, was arrested. They don't give the name. All right, let's go back here. Let's try and find somebody. Let's try and find something. I can send it to a feed. I can send it anywhere I want. Let's just do everything. So let's go with arrested plus. Let's do teacher, because teachers being arrested. I guess Lancaster Online didn't have anything in the last week about a teacher being arrested. Let me go back to who else has. Let's just do Chicago Tribune real fast. See if there's anything further that comes up in Chicago. There might be. So what we do is we'll actually sit here. Okay, here. So we're getting. This is actually from the the Los Angeles Times. Suburban high school teacher arrested. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at this one. Onset for teacher. Let's look here. So what you have here is you got Ryan Nolan, who's 29 years old, faces 1 count of criminal sexual assault. Let's just do a search for Ryan Dolan. Let's see what happens when we Google Ryan. Okay, so we have a Ryan Dolan here in Wikipedia. News for Ryan Dolan. That looks like somebody else. We got a Ryan Dolan, gay Irish singer. All right. We got Facebook. We've got iTunes. Okay, so now what we have is we got a piece of bad press here. Okay, so we could potentially now, like I said, we know that this kid is 29 years old. Chances are he probably doesn't want this sitting on Google. He probably knows that it's there. But now we have all sorts of issues, right? We got to try and find out where this guy is. We can look through social media, try and find him, try and locate him. Once again, a little bit of a pain in the ass, right? I mean, who would agree that that's not really the way that we want to go, right? I mean, we don't want to spend all day trying to chase down people that we could try and do online reputation management for, right? Anybody agree? So we used to actually do it this way. I had one of my VAs, and he would go through our local newspaper and grab the 3 local newspapers, and he would just do searches every single day, and we put it into a feed, and we put it into a list, and then we try and track the person down through Spokio and stuff like that. And yeah, it was all well and good, okay? And we wound up spending more money. We wound up spending more time actually, trying to track down people than we did, than we actually wound up, doing online reputation management for. And it just wasn't the way that we wanted to do it anymore. Let me see if I can go back to my screen share, Jake, here, because not my screen share, back to my everybody's just staring at the screen here, and I'm trying to bring it back. Okay, so there we go. You guys, we should be back now. So honestly, it's really cool. You can use Google Alerts, and you can try and locate people and then try and track them down. We found that we got a lot less money out of it. We found that we were doing a lot more sales. We found that we were doing a lot more work than what needed to be done. All right, so we abandoned this, even though I wanted to show it to you, because I think Google Alerts is something really cool that you can use for SEO and you can use for online reputation management. We actually set up a Google Alert for every single one of our people that we're doing online reputation management for, just to see if new stories are coming out. And we set it up for, as it happens, and have it emailed to me so I know right off the bat if more bad press is coming. So Google Alerts is a huge friend of yours if you're doing online reputation management, and remember, it's free, so it's absolutely awesome. And it's great to be able to monitor stuff as it's coming down the pipe, so you'll know right off the bat as soon as Google indexes something that has your dude's name in it, And it also sometimes tells you, listen, this is a piece of press that Google's looking at that has relevancy to the keywords that you're trying to track. So this might be something that you want to throw a couple of links to and see if it does anything for you. But this is not the way that we really decided that we were going to make money with it. What we came up with was we needed to find a serious sales force, okay? And it's much easier than you think. I know that people are going, oh man, here we go. Now we're going to go find a sales force. We got to do this. No, you don't, because there's already a built-in sales force for this, okay? The built-in sales force for this is lawyers, all right? And lawyers answer their phones, believe it or not. They're much better than doctors about answering their phones. And lawyers absolutely love, because I have a lot of my friends that are all attorneys, they love to build the living crap out of you. And they absolutely enjoy nothing more. And if you think what an attorney enjoys more in this world is winning a case or billing their client, they will tell you it's billing their client every single time. They really could care less. The attorney is the only one that wins every single time in every single court case. Okay? Even the attorney that loses gets paid. So it doesn't matter. Okay? They always win. All right? And they always love to build the living crap out of their clients. So what I actually did was I approached a couple of my buddies that were attorneys right off the bat, and I said, hey, listen, you know what? After you're done billing your clients silly, and there's nothing else that you can bill them for, why don't you do this? Why don't you tell him that we can clean up his mess online? We can clean up his name online. We can clean up his search results online. So you cleaned him up in the criminal justice system. Now we're going to clean him up online. And you know what? I'm going to give you 10% of whatever you bring to the table, or I'm going to give you 15% of whatever you bring to the table. Man, these lawyers were salivating. They didn't even realize that it existed. And most of them were like, you know what? This is a service that my client could really do well with. Okay. You know, I'm not pitching them something, you know, crazy off the wall that they don't need. He goes, most of them want this. They want a fresh start. They just went through a really messy, public, you know, display of what the criminal justice system did to them or whatever the case may be. And now, you know, they want to start fresh again. And the best way to start fresh is to clean up their act on Google. So these guys would pitch it like it was going out of style. And not only that, but like they would refer to you as, oh yeah, man, that's the guy that controls Google over there. Okay. What I would do is it was a very simple pitch. Okay. I would actually either give some of them a call, shoot them an email, and just say, hey, listen, you know what? I know that you guys use private investigators. I know that you guys use this, but you know what? What do you guys do for your client? What recommendations do you make for your client after the case is over? You still want to figure out a way to make a little bit of extra money and offer them a great service. Every single one of them is like, I'm all ears. And I tell them what we do, and they're like, holy crap, man, that's awesome. Okay? Because most people don't even realize that it's a possibility. All right? So right now, and that stuff actually spreads from one lawyer to the next like wildfire. I have more attorneys right now that give me a call up and say, hey, why don't you take a look at this guy before I even try and pitch him on it? I just want you to take a look at him. This is his name. This is what happened, you know, and they know right off the bat whether the guy has money. They're qualifiers, man. They know whether the guy has money, whether the guy doesn't have money. They know how much this guy's, how much this person's, online image means to them. The lawyer knows these people inside and out. So it's really, really easy for the lawyer to pitch to them. And the lawyer will actually tell you, because they're getting a percentage and they're not just getting like a finder's fee, they're going to tell you basically where you should be charging this person, because they obviously want to maximize what they're putting in their pockets too. I have a really close friend of mine who is a sports agent, and every time one of these athletes wind up getting locked up or, DWI, I'm in New York, so like, yeah, my guy was out on Route 80, got pulled over by New Jersey State Police, or got pulled over by Pennsylvania State Police, and they got collared for DWI, or they got this, they got that, They're all worried because of all the endorsements that they have, and they don't want that stuff coming out and hitting them with the endorsements. These are all people. You just have to think outside the box, and these are not people that are going to shut you down. These are people that are going to say, well, if you can actually provide if you can actually provide this service, then I'm really interested. They need it for their clients, and these public relation companies don't do this. We actually have about 4 or 5 huge public relation companies that when they have an online reputation management mess, they'll actually come to us and white label and outsource it to us on a white label that we'll actually go ahead and do all the work, and then they just charge their client. So there are like tons of different ways to find these clients, but the easiest is to find somebody who has some skin in the game and already can vet out these people for you. Okay, so you don't have to worry about, You don't have to worry about trying to figure out whether this person's qualified, whether they're not qualified, how to get in contact with them, or whatever else, okay? What you need is a handful of things, all right? Right, once again, I had a slide for it, right? So, lawyers, whether it be criminal lawyers, entertainment lawyers, music and sports agents, okay? All of them will have somebody, either one of their clients or a friend of theirs, that winds up having an online reputation management issue, okay? Especially lawyers. You know how many lawyers wind up getting arrested themselves, and they can't even, it's really kind of hard for them to even, be out there doing their whole lawyer thing when their stuff is hitting on page one that particular lawyer got arrested. It doesn't exactly add a whole lot to their credibility. So, like I said, criminal lawyers, entertainment lawyers, music and sports agents, public relations companies. These are all the people, and they'll believe it or not, they will listen to you. This is not like you're trying to hard pitch them on something. You're basically saying, hey, listen, you know what? I don't know if you need somebody, but for instance, it's sort of like when I was a cop, we actually had we would go out and we would recommend crime what's it called, companies that came in and did crime scene cleanup. Okay, once again, they weren't just, if you needed one of them, there weren't many of them in town that you could give a call to. So recommendations were huge. And, those guys got paid big money. So, whoever you're going to approach to kind of be your sales force, you just got to remember, they're thinking one thing, what's in it for them, okay? And it's all about the money. So if you turn around to them and say, listen, you know what, you bring me the client and I'm going to give you 15%. It's the hardest part is getting a new client, right? So, I'm going to give you 15%. I'm going to give you 20%, whatever the case may be. I mean, I usually don't go above 20 because I need to make something. I need to pay my staff. So, but depending on how big the fish is, I'm willing to cut them in on it. And as long as they know that, you know what, you could actually show up. I mean, I show up at a lot of lawyer network events, and they love me because I'm not in competition with any of them. And there's nobody else at any of these events that do anything close to me. They come up and they talk to me about their clients all the time. They don't give me names a lot of times, but they'll turn around and say, listen, dude, I got a client. This is what happened. The shit's all over Google. You think there's something we can do? And, boom, here's my card. You know what? If they want to talk to me, have them give me a call. And, and I just keep the lawyer in the loop, and I shoot them an email, and I let them know exactly where we stand. And you can't stiff these guys because your business is done if you try and stiff them. Okay? Pay them the referral fees. Because once you pay them once, they'll come back with 10 more clients. All right? It goes like wildfire when it comes to that. All right? This is what you need to actually start your business today. Okay? You need a website. Nothing crazy. It could be a one-pager. That's all you need. They just need to see that you have a website and you're legitimate, okay? You need business cards, all right? Because these networking events, this is one of the most interesting things. Listen, man, there are SEO guys out there all over the place, right? I mean, we all know because we all are them. But when you come in and your pitch is different and your pitch is like, yeah, man, I clean up people's messes on Google, people look at you completely differently. It's just a completely different conversation that you'll have with people. Like, oh my God, that's so cool. How do you do that? And you want to hand them your card at that point. You want to give them something that they remember exactly who you are. All right. Business cards actually have gotten me so much more in online reputation management. A lot of it's personal, and I get very little from my website, and I get so much more from that small business card that I hand somebody. All you basically need is a website, some business cards, and some drive. Yeah, you actually, believe it or not, you need to pick up the phone. You need to make some of those relationships. ReputationRockstar.net. That's perfect. What you need to do is you need to call up and you need to make some of these relationships with guys. It's not a hard sell. You're not looking to get one of these lawyers on the phone and saying, listen, man, I'm going to sell you SEO services. You're offering them something completely different that nobody else has ever pitched the guy. And you're saying, look, I want you to vet out your people. If you have somebody that's a right fit, then you and I should make some money together. The pitch doesn't get any easier than that, okay? And I'll tell you what, you'll be shocked. These lawyers, they just think that it's the coolest thing in the entire world. Almost every single lawyer that I've spoken to, not all of them I've gotten business from, because not all of them, either keep it in the back of their head, and I probably should get like a newsletter out to these guys, which I don't do, okay? But it's really, really, really simple. You can even go to Fiverr or one of these places and get like a nice little brochure made up or whatever else and mail it out to them if you want to, or just shoot them out an email. I just highly suggest that you speak to the person, you shake their hands, you hand them your business card, and you're a real person. Okay. The relationships, like I said, they're actually really easy, and it's amazing. I get phone calls from people and they say, yeah, I got your name from, this person. And I'm thinking to myself, I never even spoke to that person. And they apparently got my name from somebody else. Like I said, if you can offer the online reputation management and you differentiate yourself, not like, oh, I've got a bad review on Yelp, because let's face it, what are they really willing to pay you? A couple of $100, $200? Can you get rid of my bad review on Yelp? I mean, they could do that shit themselves if they really wanted to, pay a couple of friends to go in there and create a couple of good pieces of press. I'm talking about the real hardcore online reputation management. I think that, this is a service, like I said, we make a killing with this. And we really try and only hit the upper echelon that we know have money. And we let all of these lawyers, we let these sports agents, they vet everybody else out for us. There's just too much work to go around. So, guys, it's all-star. What I want to do now is, I'm basically at the end of the presentation. I want to open it up because I'm sure that there's a ton of questions. I'm sure you guys are kind of tired of hearing me ramble on here. Okay. So, Jake, if you want to handle the question and answers, maybe open up some mics if anybody has a question, if they want to throw their hand up.
All right, guys. I'm just going to unmute everybody's mic here. I don't know if any of you have mics. All right, never mind. A lot of you people have mics, but you don't have headphones. So I guess we'll do hand raising. If you raise your hand, I'll unmute your mic, and that's pretty much it. I'll unmute Andy as well.
Okay, so let's just go in with, many of these issues are all over TV, radio, etc. news. Do they really care about online when it is going on? It's not really a matter of a fact when it's all going on. To be honest with you, we try not to pitch somebody when it's all going on. We try to pitch them after the fact, after the dust is settled. Yeah, because there's not a whole lot we can do to stop radio and stop TV ads or news media. But it's what winds up living online after that storm has kind of blown over, after the tornado has ripped apart the town, what's still standing. So a lot of it is a cleanup afterwards, but a lot of it also has to do with creating it's like insurance. Most people don't want to buy insurance until they actually need the insurance. You can't really convince a whole lot of people, listen, one day you're going to have an issue where your reputation is going to come into effect online and it's going to be negative. So we should create a really great foundation for you today. That's like freaking one of the hardest pitches I could think of that I could go out there and try and pitch, because I don't think most people would do it. But they'll definitely come to you after there's an issue. Normally media storms last for like 24, 48 hours, unless it's somebody really big, and they go through cycles with news media where the story will break for like a day or two, and then it dies down until the first day in court for the guy, and then the news media spikes again, maybe during the trial, and then after the trial's over, and then it all dies off again. So you'll actually see spikes, ups and downs when it comes to the media the media that's out there and the SERPs and everything else. So yeah, usually depending on who it is and what it is, you could hit them at the very beginning of the spike, and then when it slows down, but just know that that spike is going to happen again. So yeah, it's really a matter of cleaning up the mess after it happens, because most of them, they won't come to you before it happens. Do we offer ongoing? I like to be really careful with what my offering is because of the fact that, you want to make sure that, for instance, I don't know, I'll give you a perfect example. Like Lindsay Lohan is not exactly somebody I take on as a client, because every time that you clean up something, her ass would be right back in court stealing something else or getting into, some other issue. So no, we definitely, and they'll keep coming back after each spike. But my contract is very specific for the URLs that we're going after and the search terms that we're going after, because, I can't control their behavior and I can't control what they do afterwards. And I'm sure as heck not going to wind up taking the brunt end of the stick because, they decided that in court, they decided they were going to take a swing at the prosecutor or whatever else. That's not my issue. My issue is that, I'm dealing with these specific URLs that are bad press, that you've identified as bad press, and they show up under these keywords. So that's basically what we do. All right, we got anything else? Anybody else? So what I'm going to do is I will make sure that we get that contract out for you guys. It's a relatively simple type of contract. It's basically an SEO contract with just the specifics built in as far as which keywords you're targeting to try and clean up, and what the specific URLs are that you're contracted to remove. Once again, Nick, when it comes to how much do you suggest charging, it all depends. I mean, I have one client that I was charging $2,000 a month for, and I can give you a little bit of a background. I can't get into who he is, but he was in Forbes' top 400 richest people, I think, in the world. And it wasn't even the fact that he had bad press. That one of his companies, it was sort of, we joked around, it was the international incident. They were a religious. He's a religious Jewish guy. There were people that were protesting against him, saying that because he was he had a bunch of unrelated businesses, and they had people coming that were protesting outside of his place, saying that he should give up the properties that he owns in the West Bank, this, that, the other thing, and they were really wreaking havoc on him. They were actually having they would pay homeless people. This is down in New York City. They pay homeless people to actually show up with these signs. And they were videotaping it and putting it up and everything else, and making it look like there were like these real big protests going on outside this guy's store. And there were people that would be buying that. He would have big high caliber clients that would come in, but they refused to start coming in anymore because they didn't want to walk past a quote unquote protest or picket line or whatever else. So once again, it all depends. It all depends on are you charging them for what I think would be the best case scenario would be is if you could charge them by the hour, but a lot of people, they want to know, like, what's my cap, what's my cost? You could charge them, once again, by project, but you better know what you're getting yourself into if you're going to charge them by project, because you could wind up losing your shirt. And once again, it all depends. It all depends on what it's worth to this guy. There are certain price points that when you're talking to somebody, you just know that they're not willing to go much further past a certain price point. So if you don't think you could do with that, then that guy might just not be the right fit for you. But it's kind of hard. What I would suggest charging all depends on what the SERP results look like, what this person gains from what services we're able to provide. There's just too many moving parts, but you can charge quite a bit because, like I said, there aren't that many people out there that do this. This whole Reputation Defender and a lot of these other, online reputation management companies, well, a lot of them they just monitor your online reputation and they let you know, oh, somebody's talking about you guys on Twitter. And that's all well and good, but what we do is we go in there and we just change the SERPs. It's a very different offering. So, like I said, for online reputation management, we basically, on a monthly gig, we usually go from 1,000 up. We've had people that were at 5,000, 6,000 a month, 8,000 a month. It all depends on how bad it was and how much it means to them. Nick, I'm not sure. Does that help you at all? Okay. All right, guys. We have any other questions? Like I said, I mean, in your travels, if you guys start to dive into the online reputation management and like you got a question, you want us to take a look, you want me to actually take a look at somebody. For instance, you have a person and you're like, yeah, I don't want to lose my shirt on this. Hit me up in the chat or send me, an instant message, on Sem Easy. And I'll be more than happy to take a look at it with you and go through it with you and make sure that you're not going to, lose your shirt on the deal. I'll help you out with the strategy at first, just so you get your feet wet. That's what it's all about. I mean, don't let this be a scary thing. I mean, you know how to do SEO. It's actually very, very, very easy. It doesn't mean that you got to abandon SEO. This should just be another one of your service offerings that you can offer because it's just, if you know what you're doing with it, and most of you guys do, like I said, you can only remove, suppress, and replace. I mean, those are the only three options when it comes to getting rid of the bad press. It's not that difficult. And I gave you some pretty good foundation work here as far as, being able to create a good foundation for, things right off the bat that will just rank on page one. And we'll put together, a bigger list. Like I said, we're going to put something in the forum and we're going to all try and create a bigger list. I used to have a whole bunch of these sites from like that were related to all voices that you just put an article on and it's indexed in like a minute or two. It's great. Yep, Cecilia, there'll definitely be a replay. Hopefully it'll go up later on today, but Jake will have to chime in about when he thinks he can get it up. Maybe tomorrow. Kevin, no problem. Like I said, guys, if there's something that all of a sudden, kind of just clicks with you and you go, wait a second, you know what? I kind of forgot to ask that. Or if as you're poking around and you see something, then, like I said, you'll start seeing me, just trying to stay logged into Sem Easy. So if you guys have chats, might not answer immediately, but I will get right back in touch with you as soon as I see the chat going, okay? All right, guys, anything else? Anybody else? All right, well, with that, I guess we're gonna wrap up this training session. I believe that we do have Jake. You're still on? Okay. I believe that the next training session we'll let you guys in on it right now. Actually, Jake, I don't want to steal your thunder. If you just want to tell everybody what you're going to be doing next.
Yeah, sure thing. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, I can hear you loud and clear.
Awesome. Well, first off, thanks, Andy, for that awesome presentation. Next week, I'm going to start going over schema in schema.org. There seems to be a lot of confusion surrounding schema, its proper use, implementation, how you should go about using it so the SERPs can actually see your content, see it properly, understand what your content's about, and thereby give you higher authority for that content, and ways you could also validate pretty much preview what your HTML is going to look like in the SERP result before actually publishing it. So it's pretty cool, and can't wait to present it to you guys.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to be a little scared or a little standoffish when it comes to schema, but Jake's going to break it down really nice and easy for you guys. This is going to be a really great intro to schema, and then we could probably get a little bit more advanced later on down the road. But yeah, it's going to be really exciting. So that's awesome, Jake.
Yep, thank you. All right, I guess I'll let you wrap it up.
All right, guys, that's it. That's going to conclude our training session, and we will see you guys inside the forum.
You are currently